to get the learning, but it is also the entire organization. If they have to be, that has to be brought about, the change has to be brought about, growth has to be brought about, and in a rapidly changing environment and the challenging environment, there is need for something called a organization development, which is a collective sort of change that we bring in. So this particular course on organization development and change management fulfills that need. And so thank you very much for choosing this. To conduct this course, we have with us Dr. Ted Kidas, and he will be handling your 7 sessions, 6 regular ones, and the 7th will be a review session, right? And I am thankful to him that he has accepted our invitation to conduct these contact sessions. And just to briefly introduce Dr. Ted Kidas, he actually began his education in South, which is Bangalore University, St. Joseph College, which is quite a famous college. He did his MSW from Bangalore, and then he joined NTPC as an HR, executive, and that's from where he got some industry experience. However, he quickly moved over to, University of Cincinnati in USA, and there he did his master's first, and then he did his PhD. So while he was doing all this, he chose to continue there and adopted an academic field. So at University of Cincinnati, Ted taught at master's level courses, like ethical issues in employment relations, health and work, HR and organization development and change, HR metrics, individual behavior in the workplace, international HRM, negotiation, organizational literacy for HR, research methods, and strategic HRM. So you see a whole range of people-related issues. He is quite a comfortable master on these areas. So while there, he was recognized by the students as most responsive instructor, excellent mentor, and for outstanding application of theory to practice. In 2012, TED established Avidar Consulting, a management consultancy that helps organizations develop metrics to measure impact, lead organizational change, and enhance organizational capacity. He takes on asset-based approach and brings an outsider's view, right? So there, what I would be doing is I would also be putting this, his biodata on. I would come. I will stop here. There is a lot more to speak about him, and I'll be putting it on the Google Classroom, right? And Ted will also be sharing his material, which he would like to share with you, all the links to the courses over there, right? So I'm sure this is the 83rd batch or the earlier one. Every one of you is a member of that Google Classroom. So there will be that material over there. So with this, I would request Dr. Dr. Ted Das to start off the session and carry on, right? So you are muted. Yeah, unmute your side.
There you go. There you go. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to do this online course for ISTD Delhi chapter as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this pans out over the next 7 weeks, right? So, all right. So we have with us, I believe, about 6 of you, not counting our 2 support personnel, Mr. Arun Kumar and Alok. Mr. Alok, So, how do you folks generally like doing this? See, one of the things is all of you are trying to do a diploma in training and development, right? So, which means that you all want to become trainers at some point in time. And so, are you comfortable with having your videos on? Because I have a lot of activities that would require you to be able to see each other. Uh, if we don't have video, it might become a little bit of an issue. But if everyone says, hey, we are not comfortable with video, then I can rework how the class sessions would progress. So let's hear, I mean, like, unmute yourself and let me know what you're thinking. Would you like, okay, so Manisha says, I'm okay. Uh, Neelam says net issue when video is on. I agree with that. Net is always is an issue. Okay, so let's keep that on in consideration. Uh, Anyone else? Do you have anything else? We have two people. Deepak, Deepak, bandwidth may not support my video either. All right. Okay. All right. So maybe from next class, I'll. Yeah, I mean, like, I totally agree with you. You know, I'm glad in an online session we only have to show the top portion of ourselves, because for all you know, I might be wearing shorts instead of being fully dressed for a training program. And so yeah, all right. So let's do this from next week onwards, right? So from next session onwards, let's try and come online. I mean, like, have the video on at least for some part of the session, so that it allows us to one, take a look at our classmates. And also, there are some activities where it just works better if you're able to see the other person, as opposed to not being able to see anyone other than me. And I completely agree with Neelam's point that bandwidth is always going to be an issue when you put on video, especially if all 10 people have their videos on. So let's do something. I will also turn off my video, and then I will share my PowerPoint screen so that we can just take it from there. We'll only have audio to go on from now until 5:30. I'm going to be mindful of the time, and if I'm kind of trying to exceed the time limit, I'm sure our coordinator will just remind me to stop talking at about 5:30 or so. Okay. Um, is there anything I should know, Mr. Alok or Mr. Arun, before I move on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is
sir.
there some? Is there something that I need to do? I know about how the classes are done. This is my first, to be honest, my first session for
No,
ISTD Delhi chapter.
We'll go in the forward the manner you are still going on, sir. You can share your PPT if you have.
Okay, let me.
Or it will be
Okay, let me see. How do I? So I exit full screen. I share my. Okay, it says host has disabled participant screen sharing. Could you let me in?
just a second.
Yeah, it's the TED which
Now
does
try,
not
sir.
have a video. Okay, so that's the one that.
Okay. Now try, sir.
Okay, so hang on. So can you see my screen, my video? Ah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So what I'll do is I'll turn off my video so that we don't have problems with bandwidth. Okay, so welcome to this elective subject called OD and Change Management, or Organization Development and Change Management. This is paper 10 in your ISTD diploma program. So one of the things is, because this is an elective subject, I must thank all of you for signing up, because you have a choice. You had a choice and you chose to take this particular course as opposed to the 3 others that are available to you. All right, so let's just begin with introductions. Okay, so let's get to know each other, because we'll be spending another 6 sessions with each other. We'll have to figure out how we will work with each other. Dr. Kaushal has already told you, a lot about me. Just to kind of, because I have the slide on, I think I'll just talk you through it. So I've been in this kind of domain for about 25 years now. I started off as an HR trainee back in the day, at a small steel company in Mangalore when I was still studying, when I was doing my master's, and then joined NTPC as an HR executive, worked at the corporate office for about 5 years, and then went to the University of Cincinnati to do a PhD. And also I was on the faculty over there. I was an assistant professor for about 6 years before I returned to India in 2012 to start my own consulting business called Evidoc Consulting. My focus is primarily on change management, leadership development, and HR and organizational metrics more generally. Okay, so that's about me. The way I kind of try and look at the courses that I try and do, or even in my consulting, is to see how what I do or what I talk about has some relevance to the people from a practical standpoint. So, while I will touch upon theoretical and conceptual aspects, I do want to, take that forward for you and help you see how all those concepts and abstract models can be applied in real life. Okay, and for that, I will need your cooperation and support, primarily in terms of asking me questions, right? So the more questions you ask me, the better one in terms of interaction, and also it kind of helps me make things more meaningful and relevant to you. All right, so that was about me. How about we get to know uh, who's in the class? I have the names of the people in the class, but talk to us. Let us know who you are. Whatever you're comfortable sharing. Your name, where you're from. Uh, why are you in this program? If you're working somewhere, and you're okay with sharing with that information, please do that. Or any other information that you think is that you're okay with sharing with us. So who wants to go first? Oh, by the way, I am from Bangalore. I'm based in Bangalore, and I do my business as well as I'm doing this particular session from Bangalore. So yeah, who wants to go first?
Good evening, sir. This side Manisha.
Hi, Manisha, and please don't call me sir. Ted,
All
Ted is
right.
perfectly fine. Okay.
Perfect. So, Ted, here you go. I have opted this diploma program since like my over a decade experiences into HR domain. And I am majorly into operations, corporate strategies, planning, performance management, employee engagement kind of stuff. But training and development is something that has been fascinating me, like, since the very beginning. And since I thought, like, I have gained a good year of experience, so I just need to switch my domain into training part. Hence, I picked this diploma program. Why OD and change management? Because yes, the behavioral science and the stats involved, like, in terms of process and the continuous strategy that need to be created in terms of giving some change to the organization is again something, like, which attracts me, and I want to know more about it. uh, just for your information, this was the favorite topic of mine, the favorite subject of mine while I was doing MBA also. Presently, I work for a digital media organization. I'm heading the human resource department there, and I'm based out in NCR.
Very nice. Welcome, Manisha, and thank you for joining this particular course.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Yeah.
And who would like to go next? I
Okay.
can do the college thing and just call out some names and say, hey, please go about it. Or you can do it voluntarily. I'm okay with both.
I'll
All
go
right. I think
next.
Deepak wants to talk. Okay,
Yeah.
Deepak,
Hi.
please go
Hi.
ahead.
Hi. Yes. Hi, Ted. This is Deepak Sharma. And
Hi, Deepak.
hi. As of now, I'm working with BT, British Telecom, and I take care of functional training there. And then we have personal effectiveness training. So we take care of those trainings. Since I am from training background, so I thought it will be an added advantage for me and a little more weightage to my resume. That's why I opted for this course. And if we talk about the specific paper, so I was a little confused and skeptical as well whether to go with OD or to go with talent management. But now, since I am from a training background, so thought, okay, let's go with OD and change management. No, I like talent management, and then when I say like talent management as a subject, I like it. I can always attend the classes. That's what was my thought process. And ultimately, I chose OD and change management. So that's a little about me.
Very nice, Deepak. Again, thank you for joining this course, and hopefully this will add more than just something onto your resume. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Who would like to go next?
So I'll go next. I'm Neelam. I am
Hi,
basically.
Neelam. Welcome.
Thank you, Ted. I'm Neelam. I am Punjabi, married to Kannada guy. So North and South meets here, and I'm working for a company called DHL Express, and I manage training for operations department in DHL for North and East. So why I chose this subject is basically like it's there's a saying. Change is the only constant. So we all know change management is a collective team for all approaches, and I think it's extremely important that we are prepared and we are also helping others to manage the change that comes in the future in any form. So that's why I thought this is a very interesting topic and I should go for it. So that's about it. Thank you.
Okay. Very well. Thank you again, Neelam, for joining this course, and I'm glad to hear that you have some connection with Karnataka as well. So
Yes,
good.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
like, although all parts of India are equally good. I mean, I spent a lot of my time in the NCR region at the beginning of my career, so it's
Right.
good to kind of have that connect as well. Very nice. So thank you, Neelam.
Thank you
Who
so
will
much.
go next?
I'll go about it. I have joined just now. So, based on the discussion, what's happening, I've got to know a couple of questions which I'm supposed to answer in order to ensure that I give a brief about me. My name is Varang Ghai, and currently I'm working with the Safe Express Group. And I come across over 15 years of hands-on experience, over 13 plus years of experience into training itself. And talking about why did I choose OD and change management, I guess being a training professional, these two things are the most important, aspect of, being into trainer or being of a trainer, or being into, the training head, or in a way that once we grow up the ladder, we need to train people, or we need to educate more about the change management and the organization development as a whole, to ensure I am able to do that effectively. I have chosen this as my optional.
Very good. Welcome, Varang, and thank you for joining this elective. I mean, like, I know you joined a little late, but you didn't miss much. There was just this lengthy introduction that I was giving about myself, which you can completely skip. The most interesting thing, perhaps, is the odd name that I have. Other than that, everything else is okay. All right. So, Varang, thank you for joining us. Who will go next? I think we have one more participant. All right. I think if there's nobody else, we can jump into the next slide. All right. By the way, before I move on, is my screen clear for you in terms of, can you see the text properly?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, very nice. All right. So this is the course outline, which I was given, and I also saw it on your website. For this particular course, there are 5 major topics that we have to talk about. What is OD, models of OD, when to use OD, what is change management, steps and models of change management. These are 5 topics that we have about 6 weeks to cover. And then the 7th week or 7th session is for a review of the course, right? So are you familiar with this particular outline, or are you seeing this for the first time? You can either chat or you can turn on your audio. It's fine. I like a little noise in the classroom, which is always good. Okay. So see, one of the things about being a trainer is if you can choose the timing of your training, right? So that is going to be optimal. For example, I did not have a choice about 4 o'clock. 4 p.m. is the worst time that you can ever begin a training program. Okay, so lesson number 1, don't ever start a training program post lunch or when people are just ready to go home. Okay, see if you can get a program sometime in the morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So which is another reason why I have to thank all of you for signing up, because you've signed up for a program, for a course that starts at 4 p.m. All right, so this is the course outline. You have some familiarity with what this course entails. Let me hear your expectations. Like, yeah, so you've read about the course outline, you've read the course description. What do you expect out of this? At the end of week 7, on December 20th, when we sign off from this program, from this course, what would you want to take away with you? What would you want to have learned by then?
So, Ted, this is Deepak.
Yeah.
The expectation, it's a simple expectation that if I talk about myself, to learn the concept and things that you have shown with some practical examples. Like initially during your introduction, you mentioned, you will add some practical examples which can be taken back probably, and it should be like bringing learning to life. It shouldn't be just theory which can't be brought back with some examples which could be utilized, or maybe some of the case studies from some of the organizations where they have gone through OD and change management, where they reduced the size in such a manner that it didn't pinch others. And in case if something of that sort happens in your specific organization, how to deal with it, those kind of learnings. So that's my expectation.
All right. Thank you, Deepak. I put it up on the screen. So I'll start, typing in as you say, so that we have a running list of all your expectations.
Thank you.
Who wants to share next?
Ted, decide Manisha.
Right.
Yeah, I would love to understand the alignment of OD with L&D field A. B, if in case, if it possible, the relationship between OD analytics and ROI, plus overlap of OD and change management. I guess that would be the major areas that I would look forward to.
Okay, hang on. So you said three things, and my typing is not fast enough.
Oh,
Could you say alignment of OD and what is the first one?
OD with L&D field.
Okay, OD with LND. Okay.
Then a relationship between OD, training analytics, and ROI.
OD training. Okay. And the third
And
one
a
was?
overlap of OD and change management.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Manisha.
Yeah.
What about the others?
Okay, it's Neelam here. I would be,
Yeah.
yeah, I would like to know how to develop a structured approach to change, which I can also implement in the company I work for. So how do we approach it? What is the structured approach for change management?
Okay. Very nice.
Thank you.
Anything else? Who else wants to go? I think we have.
You said this is Arpita. For
Hi,
me,
Arpita.
I haven't
Hold on,
chosen
hold
this.
on, hold on.
Yeah, yeah,
Hold on, Arpita. You joined us late. So just
yeah.
let us know something about
Apologize a
yourself.
bit. I had to log
Not a
off
problem.
office meeting. In fact, I'll just switch on my native.
Not a problem.
I've been working for an organization called DAXA. I've been in the field of freight forwarding from the last 16 years, and before that in Nestle, in purely in HR. And from the last 3 years, my role has also developed in L&D. So I'm looking after the India subcontinent learning and development as well. This is not a chosen elective for me, but OD is a subject that I've really wanted to learn from a very long time, and I need to I understand what are the recent developments and why is it so much in demand globally, the worldwide, and how we can take away in our industry from what is being relevant or what's being taught in the recent developments, how it can be.
Okay, so why is OD such a hot thing? Okay. Let's do that. Exclamation. Okay. Thank you, Arpita.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else? Learn concepts with practical examples, case studies, alignment of OD with L&D, relationship of OD training and training analytics and ROI, overlap of OD and change management, how to develop a structured approach for change management. Why is OD such a hard thing? So good. If there's no one else adding to this, or should I give you another minute? Okay, it seems like we have all the expectations up here. So the positive thing news is that we will be talking about all of these points over the next 5 to 6 weeks. Okay. By the end of or by the time we get to the 20th of December, you should be in a good position to have information and knowledge about all of these points that you have you know stated as your expectations, plus more than this, right? So there will be some additional things as well, but let's just keep this as your expectations that we will want to exceed for the time being. All right, so before we get started, some ground rules for how we will go about managing ourselves in this online environment. What will we do in terms of our behaviors? What will we do in terms of the attitudes that we bring to the table? And also, what will we do to want to succeed in this particular program and this particular course? Okay, so for that, what I'd like to do is to give you 2 minutes to think about it, right? So to think about it, maybe jot it down in a notebook or a piece of paper that you have with you. I assume all of you have a pen and paper handily available with you. So just jot down a couple of points about what are the rules that we will follow, everyone, including myself. What will we follow in terms of our behaviors, in terms of the attitudes that we bring in, and in terms of anything that will make us more successful in this particular program. So 2 minutes, I will set a timer on my watch, and we can start hearing from you in 2 minutes. Okay, so we have reached the end of our 2 minutes. Would someone like to share with us what you have as a ground rule? I think we have about 4 or 5 people. So if each of you can share 1 or 2 ground rules, we can see if
So,
we can fill up the screen.
Ted, this side, Manisha.
Right. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Manisha.
I guess let's be participative here. Rather, intervening into between the discussion. We can either use chat box to ask the question, which can later be taken by you. We would also need to have a constructive feedback just in case if we come back with some kind of a research work or a assignment that has been given to us. Plus our open mindset, like, what I feel is that to learn from each other, in fact, relearn.
Okay, so you've given us 3. I'm going to put 2 of them up, Manisha, and then I'll come back for your third one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so who wants to go next?
Hi, Ted. Neelam here. I feel that we should be punctual to the sessions. It's very important.
Okay.
We are on time, and to also have a positive approach, open-mindedness. That's something to do with behavior.
Okay. Be positive and
And
open-minded.
yeah, and I feel we should let everyone speak. Sometimes.
Hang on. So that is your third point. I'll come back to that third point.
Yeah, no
okay,
problem.
In a bit.
No
Yeah.
problem. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Arpita, right? That was
Yeah,
Arpita.
yeah.
Okay.
No, that
Yeah.
was Neelam.
Thank you, Arpita.
Arpita now. That was
Neelam.
Neelam before
Okay,
me.
thank you, Neelam. All right.
I felt another important point is to keep our gadgets, other gadgets and mobiles and ringtones off, because that sometimes does interrupt. And from past experience, I'm sharing this. And if we can have certain breakout sessions where we can brainstorm and discuss maybe case studies, I'm sure you'll be having that to share thoughts amongst industries, what is the what is working and what is not in each other's industries, perhaps.
Okay. Could you say that?
Breakout sessions.
In a breakout session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Breakout sessions.
And brainstorming, basically.
To brainstorm, discuss case studies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Arpita. Who's going next?
This is Palumi. I don't know if anybody can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you clearly,
Hello?
but you came in late. So why don't you
Everybody
give us a quick introduction
no,
to
sir,
yourself?
I am already there. Yeah, actually, this is Palumi, and currently I'm not working anywhere. But this is maybe a comeback, I would say. I have earlier worked 7 years, and I was in a generalist profile with more into compensation and payroll and statutory compliances, all these things. So T&D was new to me. And when I came back, I was more interested this time to start again with T&D. So that was the reason why I had enrolled for this ISTD course, because I had done a LinkedIn search before that, and I saw that the majority of the Indian populations who are into training and development have done this course. So I thought there must be something, and it will be definitely beneficial for me in future, for me as well as my child also, because I want him to be in LNP. So that is one reason, and also so I want to work in the training field only. So
okay,
that
very nice.
was an interest, I would say. And
Okay, welcome, Pallami.
when I had started my career, I always was in organization development.
Okay.
So I always have an attitude, I generally have an attitude of developing others. And at the same time, I develop myself also. When I see someone better than me, I learn a lot. So
okay,
that is it.
So
now,
what is the
what I
ground rule
wanted
that
to
you
add in over here is
want us?
No, because ground rule is, I thought majority of the things everybody has shared, and it is the same for me as well. One more thing is, like, if we have some conflicts or disagreements, maybe we can respect other people's views also. Like let the other people speak, and maybe gently that even if we are disagreeing, then why are we disagreeing? If we can say something on that. Views like everybody has different thought
Okay,
process on the same thing. So while
that's a
respecting
good
the other
point.
person's views, and sir, what I wanted is ki, like since I'm currently not working, I'm not in the working culture, and I have an experience, but that is past now. So I don't know what is the latest thing in the market. So if I would like to request all the participants who are there in the class, plus since we have someone like you, like if everybody can share what are the latest challenges they are facing in their organization, and what OD initiatives they want or to take, undertake, or what are the challenges they are facing in their organization from other teams, the operational team or the senior management team. So that will help me to, capture more. Like that is it. That is, I don't know if I'm clear. That is something what I
Okay, I
want
think
from
I've put
you
that
as
under the
well.
expectation
And maybe
section.
if the other participants can also share, since so many people said that they are from the logistics and the transportation industry. So I'm not there, but earlier I was working. So I know the previous challenges that we used to face when I was in DHL, but that is long, long back. I don't know the latest developments that have taken place over there or something. But similarly,
All right,
generally what happens is in an industry, all the organizations, they pick up the same pattern. So if other
right,
people
right.
can share what are the latest challenges they are facing right now in
All right.
2020.
Sounds good, Palmi. Yeah, I've put that under the expectations
Yeah.
as well, and also under ground rules too, that we will try and share our experience so that we have an opportunity to spread the knowledge. Okay, uh, let's hear from one more person. Uh, if everyone's had a chance to share their ground rule, then maybe we can go back to Manisha and Neelam's third points.
Um, Hi, Ted, Neelam here.
Yeah.
I think it has been covered. I basically wanted to say that we should let everyone speak, and ironically, I think I cut the third person or fourth person from speaking. So yeah, I think everybody should
Okay.
get a chance to speak.
Okay. Uh, Allow everyone to speak. Okay. All right. So 9 is a good number, uh, even cosmologically speaking. Okay. So all of us are in agreement that one, we will be punctual. Uh, we will come in with an open. Oh, hang on. So I have one ground rule. So let me add that. We will. Okay. Is that an acceptable point? That we will come prepared, meaning to say that if we agree to read up something or to look up something, we will do that, and then we come back for the next session. We will have something to report. Okay. All right. So we'll participate. Use the chat box in order to be not obtrusive and disruptive. We will give and receive constructive feedback. Very nice. We'll be positive and open-minded. Uh, Keep our electronic devices in on mute mode or switched off. That we will try and have interactive sessions in smaller groups. We will respect other viewpoints even when we disagree. We will share from our experience and learn from others' experience. And we will allow everyone a fair chance to participate. Okay, we will do all of those things. So good. Okay, so let's move on. So this is a course on OD and change, right? So organization change. So I figured let's begin disrupting this whole thing by changing the outline itself. If you recall, this was our outline. What is OD, models of OD, when to use OD, what is change management. I've kind of kept all of these things, but I've just reworked the outline a little bit more in order to kind of for it to flow more smoothly in a logical sense. Also, I had a chance to take a look at one of your previous exam papers, and what I noticed was that there were a lot of questions related to organization change in that question paper. Although I will not be teaching or like facilitating this particular course for a test, I'm not going to be preparing you for a test, but I also want to be mindful that at the end of the day, you will be taking an exam, and then you should have at least the basics covered in order for you to feel confident when you go to write your exam. Yes, Palami, yeah, I see you've raised your hand.
No, sir, thank you.
Okay. All right. So this is how we're going to change it. Today we will take a look at organization change, a quick introduction to it, and then we'll spend another 2 sessions on change management itself. Look at some of the process aspects of it, the conceptual as well as the process aspects of it. And then we will do OD and look at organization development in a little more detail in the second part of the course. And then we'll leave, course review. I would like to actually do midterm reviews rather than keep everything at the end, because if in week 7 you tell me that, hey, I didn't even understand something, it just becomes a little too late in the day to make some corrections. So what I'll try and do is have review sessions or time allocated for review every second week, so that we are not too kind of far behind in having to catch up. All right. So this is going to be our new course outline. We spend 3 sessions or about half of the uh, course on change management, and then the other half on organization development. Hopefully, when this plays out, you will see that it logically works better than the previous outline. All right, question for you. Have you heard of this particular word before? VUCA.
Yes, Ted, yeah.
And feel free to unmute yourself, make some noise.
Yes, yeah, I got it.
Yes.
Yes, so Deepak has heard of VUCA, Manisha, Neelam.
Yes.
Right. So can you tell me something about it? What does it stand for? What does it mean? Why is it important in the context that we are in terms of change management?
So, Ted, normally the phrase which is used is it's a VUCA world. That's what people say. So volatility is there, uncertainty is there, and then it's complex, and there are a lot of ambiguities as well. So nothing can be perfect. It's all changing. One structure, one format, one method may not work. So you need to constantly make changes to that. So I think that's why it's known as VUCA, and the world is referred as VUCA world. That's my point of view.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Deepak. I mean, that kind of covers it. So VUCA is just an acronym for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. It's a kind of a concept that seems to have become quite popular in the last, say, 5 years or so. I believe it was introduced by someone from the McKinsey consulting company, right? And so the whole idea that the world that we are living in and then the future that we can expect are not going to be as predictable, as stable as the world was before this, right? So when you look at the rate at which change has been taking place, uh, the way we live now, the way we work now has dramatically changed, right? So given COVID, which seems to be everyone's favorite example nowadays, is in the last 8 or 9 months, the way we live and work has completely changed, right? And so it's the rate of change. So when you talk about volatility, what you're basically saying is the fluctuations that exist. Uh, if the rate of change is constant, then that's not volatile. So it's predictable. So you know that, okay, so like say, for example, back in the day, there used to be something called Moore's law in the chip industry, the integrated circuit industry. Those of you who are familiar, I don't think anybody talks about Moore's law now anyway, because speeds of improvement have dramatically increased from Moore's law that said that every computing capacity would double every 18 months was his prediction. So that's a predictable number. So you know that uh, you know uh, computing speeds will increase, cost of gadgets will reduce at a particular speed, and all those things. So rate of change, if it is high or low, if it can be predicted with certainty, then it's not volatile. But volatility is when fluctuations exist, where suddenly you're looking at the stock market. Today it's up 300 points. Tomorrow it's down 400 points for no reason whatsoever, right? And so you really can't uh, come up with any standard operating procedure to deal with those things. So volatility is about fluctuation. So let's look at another picture. Maybe this captures that. So low volatility, fairly stable. High volatility, ups and downs. I mean, this is also fairly predictable. Maybe they should have had one with a jagged edge, right? Uncertainty about the future, right? So low uncertainty is when you can fairly predict to say, yeah, this particular product will mature over a certain period of time at a certain rate, and so on. High uncertainty is when you can't predict the future, whether the range of options that exist for you are quite wide, right? So this is the high uncertainty. So when you have to make a decision, you don't know whether you have to be operating on this line or the line at the bottom. Complexity is the number of factors that you have to consider when making a decision, right? So this is like having an equation. How many variables are there in a particular equation? How many moving parts are there in a particular machine? A simple machine with one moving part is a machine of low complexity versus a machine that has 100 moving parts, meaning to say that you have 100 different opportunities for things to fail. But again, there are different levels of risk associated with low and high complexity. But for our understanding, it is the number of factors that have to be considered in decision making. And ambiguity is about clarity. Highly ambiguous is things are vague, there is not enough clarity. There is not enough clarity about, say, government policy. There is not enough policy clarity about what track climate change will what track climate will take, or what is the direction in which a certain technology will develop. All of those things are what don't give enough clarity, Okay, so currently, as Deepak said, we are constantly talking about, hey, we are living in a VUCA world, so we have to be prepared for it somehow, right? So yeah, here's something that I thought I'll kind of share with you. So this is a screen of Amazon's search result for the phrase organization change. Yeah, can you see it? Okay, now, oh, so back in the day, so this is, I pulled out my archives to get this. This is Amazon's search result, I believe sometime in the mid 2000s, 2005 or 2008 or something like that, when I first started teaching a course on organization change. Back in the day, there were about 4,800 books that Amazon used to sell on their website. Uh, and then change management came up with about 12,000 results, with 12,000 odd results back in the day. So out of curiosity, I just ran a search today for the same phrases, search terms, organization change. It says there are over 100,000 results, although I should have filtered it out by books. But even if I did that, I'm sure it would definitely be more than the 5,000 books that were there earlier and the 12,000 books for change management. Right. So there's a lot of material out there, and it seems like every day somebody's writing a book or a blog or sharing their hot take on change. Okay. Um, and so for organization development alone, there are over 50,000 results in this. This includes books and a whole bunch of things. So the question to ask you yourself is, hey, what's going on over here? Why are people writing so much about organization change, about organization development? Are these things really real, or is it just some passing phase or fad that seems to be the flavor of the month or the year, that everyone has to get on the bandwagon for fear of missing out? They don't want to miss out, so hey, let's also do that. And this bookshelf has everything, zero based budgeting, benchmarking, uh, you know total quality management. Everything is there. And so as aspiring practitioners or practitioners at present, uh, one of the things that you have to ask yourself is this question in terms of, hey, I'm learning about change, organization change. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there. How much of it actually works? Is it a fad? What is going on over here? Right. So there was someone who did a study back in the day, and this is from the Academy of Management Review. This guy Abrahamson, used to be a professor at Columbia University. I don't know if he's still over there. Uh, so he tried to kind of figure out, you know, what is the longevity of certain fads that exist. Uh, and so he looked at quality circles in his paper, Management Fashion. It's an interesting paper. I mean, it's a little dense, doesn't make for easy reading because he's an academic, but whatever, right? So quality circles seem to pick up in the 80s, early 80s, and then it dropped off fairly quickly. And for those of you who remember your history, this is around the time when the Japanese cars started coming into the US market, right? The Japanese cars started coming into the US market, and there was Toyota and Honda selling top quality cars uh, at much lower prices, uh, with great mileage, great performance, very low maintenance, in the US after the oil crisis of 1977, when the Saudis, the OPEC countries, had a cut down oil production, fuel prices skyrocketed, and the American car industry went into a tizzy, and the Japanese cars started coming in with their great quality, and everyone was curious about what was going on with these Japanese companies. Why are and how are they able to produce such excellent quality cars, right? And Japanese cars back in the day, they would offer lifetime warranty. Lifetime warranty was unheard of for an American car, which would break down after 10,000 miles or so. And here you have a Japanese car which even after 200,000 miles would run for another 100,000 miles with a little bit of tweaking. And so when they were looking into the Japanese manufacturing process, they came across quality circles, right? And as soon as they came across quality circles, everyone and his grandmother wanted to do quality circles in their organizations. They tried it out for a bit. So the number of people who wrote about it, at least in academia, shot up. Those who studied it shot up. And then interest waned when they figured out that quality circles has a lot more going on to it than just trying to copy certain processes from the Japanese without really understanding the cultural background that underpins the success of quality circles in Japanese companies. Okay, so that's a pretty long historical take for quality circles. And then there were a couple of other folks who just picked up from Abrahamson's research and wanted to look at total quality management. Again, TQM had its peak sometime in the early 90s, and then interest waned off. BPR, business process reengineering, there were these two great authors who made a ton of money writing about BPR. Even their fad picked up around the mid 90s and then faded. Yeah, so this particular picture captures a lot of the fads, right? And what their life cycle is. So all of them seem to have a 5 to 10 year, some of them even shorter than that, right? So yeah, the reason why I'm showing you all of these things is this. Okay, yeah, I forgot about this one. Just more of the same, talking about fads. The reason why I'm talking to you about all these things is this particular picture. This is a picture of a hammer. There is a famous saying that says, for a carpenter who only has a hammer as a tool, every problem looks like a nail. Just take a moment to think about it. How often have you come across people who have one solution for every problem? Yeah. So let me kind of take a pause over here and have some of you maybe share something in terms of what this picture says, what the saying speaks to you about. For someone with just a hammer as a tool, everything looks like a nail. What does it say to you? What is your understanding of that saying? Feel free to unmute yourself and share. I see Manisha is unmuted. Manisha, go ahead.
Yeah, Ted, I think that it is moreover depend on the perspective and the expertise of a person. Just in
Okay.
case if I have a competency, like, to handle one kind of a thing, like, if a hammer is the only equipment that has been provided to me, so of course, my only expertise would be like, to looking out for a nail, whereas like, and I can use the hammer. But the only thing which I understood by this is like, that we need to look forward to upgrade the tools also in terms of competencies and expertise, also knowledge.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Manisha. Would anyone else like to add to what Manisha said?
Sir, Ajay
Or
here.
yes, please, Ajay.
So, in kind of organizations and the organizational role that an organization plays in terms of generating sales, for that matter, hammer would be the kind of the pressure that an organization gives to the end sales force, and the sales force is the nail which, when hammered, will provide the result. Okay, so it is not the only pressure that a hammer can provide to bring up the sales from the sales team. But on the other side, if you use a different tool, maybe that might provide some different result also. But generally speaking, hammer is the only thing which basically most of the organizations use to bring out the sales. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Ajay, and please don't call me sir. Ted is perfectly fine, and good point you make. And thanks for that example of sales as well. Okay, Neelam, I see you've unmuted yourself. Would you like to share?
Yes, while I look at this picture, something comes in my mind that it's like different problems have different solutions. So we cannot have the same approach to all the problems. So only having one tool for every problem is not going to solve the purpose. So that's what I feel when I look at this, that you cannot have this approach that, okay, this is what I have and I'm going to try solving every problem with the same tool. So
very good. Thank you for the share.
Thank you.
Let's have one more person to share, and then maybe we can move on. Okay, so let's move on. Good points. I mean, like, everyone has basically hit the hammer on the nail, so to speak, on this particular image. The simple point is this, that when our toolkit does not contain enough tools, say we need a spanner, we need a screwdriver, we need different types of screwdrivers, a flathead or a Phillips screwdriver or a star screwdriver. Maybe we have a spanner, we need to have a wrench of different sizes, spanners of different sizes, screws of different types. Maybe we need a planer, we need a chisel, whatever, right? So a carpenter needs to have several tools in his toolkit in order to do a great job. So in fact, one of the things that I actually do is in my own life is when I try and hire someone to do a particular job, maybe a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician or someone to do anything, I try and find out what are the tools that they have in their toolkit. Have they invested in building their toolkit? I often see people come in as carpenters who don't carry, say, a spirit level with them. So without a spirit level, it's hard to kind of uh, uh, build a really leveled thing just by eyeballing it. I mean, like, even if you've spent decades in the profession, it's really hard to get a level surface if you don't use a spirit level properly, or if they don't have the right type of drilling machine or a drilling bit. I basically tell them, please leave, because I think you're going to cost me more in the long run, because you're not going to be using the appropriate tool for what has to be done, right? So how is all this relevant for us in this particular course? Is we are going to start building our toolkit, right? Equipping or investing in adding to our toolkit, so that we don't end up like folks who just go and get a certification in any one of these things. I mean, Six Sigma is something that really gets my goat even now. I mean, like, I always kind of find people who say, I'm a Six Sigma black belt. And the question is, very nice, thank you, very good, but what do you do with it? Six Sigma has an application in certain areas and not in other areas. you cannot apply Six Sigma for everything. Similarly, every of these things that we've talked about, they all have a particular conceptual basis for it. If we know what that is, then we become better equipped to figure out which tool to take. Think of it like, you going to a doctor who looks at you for 2 seconds and comes up with a diagnosis, is going to evoke some sort of concern from you. You're going to ask him or her, man, you didn't ask me anything about my family history. You didn't ask me how I'm feeling. You didn't ask me what I did. You didn't ask me about my travel history. You didn't ask me about the nature of my work. Uh, you didn't ask me any questions. A doctor who does all those things, runs a few tests, and then comes up with a diagnosis is going to be perceived as having done his homework or his job, right? So similarly, you as a training and development professional, if you can understand the conceptual or the theoretical basis for why organizations change and how change can be brought about and how we can develop organizations, you can develop your own tools and your own methods, right? So let me repeat that. If I know why I have to do something, I can come up with several different methods to accomplish my task. But if I don't know why I have to do something, I end up becoming like the person with a hammer. I start hammering everything because that's the only thing that I know, right? So let's, in this particular course, the challenge for me is to try and provide for you tools that you can add to your toolkit, right? And then at the end of, say, the course, you will be better equipped to be able to diagnose a particular problem and also come up with ways to solve that particular problem. All right, so let's take a pause here. Any questions? I have another 12 minutes to go. Are there any questions so far? Okay. So let's move on. I have a few slides and we will catch up next week if there are anything remaining. So when we talk about organization change or change management, we are talking about planned change. Let me see if I can get my pointer pen. There you go. So we are talking about planned change. When we talk about organization change, we're saying planned change as opposed to unplanned change. Planned change means that you have a deliberate process for bringing about changes within your organization, as opposed to being suddenly surprised by events that happen and then you are forced to change. So let's take our current champion, COVID-19, as an example. How many organizations had prepared themselves for a pandemic like this? How many organizations had at some point sat down and thought about, hey, the way things are going, it seems like we can anticipate a global catastrophe or global disruption happen in the next 5 years. So let's put some systems and processes in place so that we can deal with an eventuality like that. Yeah, so the question is to the class. Unmute yourself Do you know of any organization that has done something like that?
So Ted, Arpita here.
Yes,
Not
Arpita.
perhaps not that far into the future, but since the closing of last year itself, when the news started flowing of this the illness catching up across China, since I'm based out of an APAC trade lane, we got news much more faster of the way this was spreading. So the thought process definitely came, being in the logistics sector, how can we work from home if that came, if the situation came to that, because the mindset has been so rigid that certain section of the organization, people have to come, they have to be in ports, or they have to be present physically. It was really challenging, but I must give credit to the management that we took time out to think of different ways in case this eventuality came. And the result was that in February, by the time we had prepared a backup, we had actually planned and tested on ways to execute our operations. We did it rather smoothly in when the sudden announcement came on 21st March, we had to close down, because we could see a fair bit of planning work for us. But yes, it would have been much more well planned if maybe a year back in advance we could have done it. But overall it went pretty well. But what I'm seeing now is that with the unlockdown now happening slowly, the tendency is to go back to what it was in the past. That was easier for us. Now that is the uh, part which needs to be managed much more tactfully now, to avoid the mistakes that were done in the past. So that's my feedback from what I've seen.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that
Yeah.
excellent share, Arpita. It's good
Thanks.
to know that your organization was able to quickly kind of sense something was going to go wrong, and put in steps in order to deal with it. Yeah, very nice. Thank you. Thank you for that share. Anyone else would like to share? Okay, so this is about planned organization change, where you deliberately sit, think about the future, and put things in place today to manage the future. So planned organization change is managing the future from the present. So you're trying to put things in place today so that your tomorrow is going to be better. Think of it like a savings plan, a rainy day fund. You figured out, hey, I am 21 years old. I might get married when I'm 23 or 24 or 25. I don't know what age people get married nowadays, but 25, I have 4 years to kind of start putting money away to deal with the life changes that will come once I get married. I might have a kid. I'll have to think about the kid's future, education, everything. Or I'm pursuing a certain course of study. What do I anticipate the future to look like? And how can I start equipping myself with the requisite competencies today so that I'm ready for what tomorrow throws at me? Right? So when we say organization change in this particular course, we are talking about planned organization change, and not change that is forced upon us, and that to which we have to simply react, right? So someone who has built his house on a firm foundation has prepared for the future. Someone who has just built a house without a care about what the drainage system is in that particular area, or what the rainfall looks like, or if it's in the path of a cyclone or a hurricane or a typhoon, whatever you call it, is it earthquake prone, flood prone? And if I've not thought about those things and planned, then I am not managing the future from the present. I am simply reacting to what is going to happen in the future. That is not the kind of professionals we want to be. right? So one of the things about this particular course is there is a lot of things that you can use to apply to your own personal self. So the benefits of if we all pay proper attention and then do what is required, the benefits are twofold. We learn things about how to do stuff in the workplace, and we also learn stuff about how to manage our own lives better. All right. Okay, so planned organization change is managing the future from the present. What is organization change? I'm going to do this. I have 4 minutes more. I'll do this particular slide, and then we will break for today and then continue in the next session next week. Okay, so what is organization change? So one of the things, you remember I showed you that there were these thousands of books that have been written about organization change. Well, you would be happy to know that every author has come up with his or her own definition of organization change, which has some flavor or the other of what you see on the screen, right? So this particular definition that I have on the screen for you is from Warner Burke's book on organization change. He's one of those pioneering, or the big dogs in the field of organization change. He has a textbook that is popular. A new edition comes out every year, hugely in demand, is the prescribed textbook for organization change in many programs across the world. So according to Warner Burke, organization change is a planned alteration of organizational components to improve effectiveness of the organization. Once again, it is, hang on, let me see if I can get the pen. My pen is here. So it's a planned alteration of organizational components to improve organizational effectiveness, right? So what is the purpose of organization change? The purpose of organization change is to improve the effectiveness. This is not something that one does just for the fun of it. Today I woke up and I want to, do something. So I go ahead and, try and change and tweak a few things. That's not the purpose. The purpose is that we are trying to change some components within the organization in a planned way in order to improve organizational effectiveness. And what are these organizational components that we talk about? It could include the vision, the mission, the goals. Vision as in, hey, I want to become the largest producer. I want to, say, someone's in logistics over here. I want to be the fastest to the customer in terms of delivery, or I deliver at the time that the customer wants it, whatever. And however you define your vision. Goal, I want to be the richest company, I want to be the richest person, whatever you define your goal as. And other components are your strategy, your structure, process, systems, technology, and also people. When we develop the capabilities of people within the organization, that also is an important component. All right, so we have a minute left, and I don't want to go to the next slide because that will exceed our time. So let me stop over here with this particular slide. What is organization change? Okay, and what I'll do is I will convert this into a PDF and upload it to your Google Classroom so that you have a copy of this. I believe they also upload this YouTube video, which really maybe it's helpful for those of you who join in late, or it's there as a record for you to look at. Okay, so let's stop over here and let me say ask any questions before we completely wrap up. Please go ahead.
Deepak here.
Deepak.
Okay, so yeah, just want to say thank you so much for today's session. So other chapters have already started, so we are starting today. But yeah, it's a nice start. Thank you so much for that. And something on timings. So is it like it can be changed, or it's like it will remain the same, like 4 o'clock? Can it be done in the morning? Like tomorrow we have a session that starts at 10 o'clock, considering there are people who work on Saturday, so 10 to 11 or 11:30 would be manageable, so people would be able to manage both the things, this class and work. Uh, just a thought.
Yeah, that's a good point, Deepak. In fact, I had asked for a Sunday session because it simply works better even for me. But I think because of the scheduling things, this was scheduled for a Saturday at 4. Uh, but I have requested
In fact,
for a change in time. I don't know
if I may add, Ted, because
yes, sir.
tomorrow we have a talent management session at 6 in the evening, and it works just fine for us because the work for the day is over. So if we can have maybe, if
Acha.
not 4 or 5 o'clock, also works perfectly, because most of the work on Saturday gets over. Uh, it would
Right,
really, because there are a couple of other chapters also having classes. So I think there's a challenge in scheduling everything at 10 o'clock. So that may clash.
right,
So that may be the reason why it's getting pushed backwards.
right. So, Deepak, the thing is, I do not have much control over the scheduling, but I will share your concern and request to the coordinator and to Dr. Kaushal, and if a schedule opens up, maybe they will accommodate us. Otherwise, we just have to figure out how to deal with it. It's a VUCA world, Deepak.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, that's absolutely
We
fine.
have
So
to,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
we are.
yeah.
So I am flexible, and that's why I am here. So it's like, in case it can be done, and then let's do it.
Definitely.
If not, if not, that's absolutely fine.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
the flexibility over there. All right, so it's a little 2 minutes past 5:30. Let's wrap up for the day. Thank you all for joining in today.
Uh,
Next session, I'm sure they will keep you informed if there's a change. If there is no change, then we will meet at 4 p.m. next Saturday. All right.